Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Council Chambers on this beautiful October 14th day. As you can see, it's nice and shiny outside, and leaves is just starting to turn, so when you go for a stroll through our trails and parks, the beauty of the fall is upon us. Ladies and gentlemen, this is also the last council meeting for this council term, from the 2021 to 2025 council, and ladies and gentlemen, it has been a privilege to serve on council with each and every one of you. Members of council, there's agenda before you. Administration, anything to add?
Okay. Thank you, Your Worship. Nothing further to add at this time.
Okay. See nothing to add. Deputy Mayor, for the agenda motion, please.
The Town Council adopt the October 14th, 2025 regular council meeting agenda as presented.
Call the question. All in favor? Okay, that is carried. Moving on with agenda number 3 is the public input session. So this is the time that we allow residents and stakeholders to address council on anything that's not on the current agenda. Administration, has anybody registered to speak?
Your Worship, no one has registered to speak.
Okay, thank you. I see a few people in the gallery. Is anybody in the gallery like to speak to council on anything that's not on the current agenda tonight? Seeing none, moving on to number 4, which is presentations and delegations. And today we have a very special presentation. Go ahead, administration.
Thank you, Your Worship. We have a special presentation or a special announcement. Councillor Pat Hansard will be receiving a 20-year award from AB Muni. It has been announced previously. And we did put out a news release from the town of Stony Plain as well, but thought it fitting on this council evening to provide this information and recognition publicly in the council chambers. Your Worship, I know that you have the background, and I know you have all served with Councillor Pat Hansard, but a couple of things of note. I believe what it says here is this is the 6th council term. Yeah, ending of the 6th. That in itself is an achievement. I know there was a misprint on the agenda item. It indicated 44 years. That has been corrected to 32 years of being present in the community, both as a resident and as an active member of numerous boards, committees, and other ways of contributing to Stony Plain. And Your Worship, yes, it does say here on as well, and I will also note that Councillor Pat Hansard is the longest-serving female elected official in the history of the town of Stony Plain, and a tribute to her diligence, staying power, and what I often say, heart for the people of this community and this community itself. So, Your Worship, that is the basics, and I'll just turn it back to you.
Thank you, administration. I definitely appreciate bringing that forward in terms of just kind of announcement. I think for Councillor Hansard, that has been definitely a long service award. Definitely a lot of dedication and heart has been given to the community. We definitely appreciate the service that you have done. Members of council, any comments? Councillor Anderson, go ahead.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think this is well deserved. Certainly the gift of time, energy, and effort to serve 20 years in a public position is a tremendous accomplishment, and I think speaks to the heart of who Councillor Hansard is. But and the award is based on the length of time, but I want to talk just briefly about her efficacy as a councillor. And certainly I came in as a fresh face 4 years ago and needed a little mentoring. And at times there were things that I didn't quite understand or things that I had questions about. And Councillor Hansard was always there, willing and readily available to lend an ear, some advice or some wisdom from her time previously serving on council, and certainly has been an important contributor to my journey over the last 4 years. And so want to take the time to recognize her, not just for her length of service, but the quality of individual that she is and the mentor that she is, not just to me, but so many over those 20 years. And so with a tremendous amount of gratitude, certainly appreciate Councillor Hansard's contribution to our community.
Thank you, Councillor Anderson. Councillor Pletchko.
Yeah, thank you, Worship. Well-deserved, Councillor Hansard. Pat, your mom, we know you as a lot of different things. I think back to when you and I first met many, many years ago, and our daughters went to school together, and how you mentored a lot of things. I can think of when I first started out for council, and you were always there as the counselor that would help anybody and everybody. I think you've come a long ways today in all that you've done in this community and will do in this community going forward, no matter what. Your heart says it all, and your dedication to each and every one says a lot. I think to the time when I actually got elected, the work that we did together and how you helped with a lot of that stuff, I thank you for that. And I wish you the best in every venture that you take along the way, both yourself and your husband, Dan. He is the backbone a lot of the times that none of us ever see, but Dan is always there for you. So congratulations on this well-deserved reward, and I hope that we get another term on council together. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Pletchko. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Worship. Councillor Hansard, it has been a privilege to serve with you for the last 4 years. I met you several years prior to this, and it has been wonderful to not only be able to now call you my colleague, but also my friend. So thank you for everything you've done. Thank you for everything you continue to do, and thank you for being a leader, a woman in power, and to show other women that we can do this as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Your Worship, and Mrs. Hansard is actually, I went to school with Pat's son, so I've actually been exposed to the wisdom of Councillor Hansard for many years, but I appreciate all that you've done for this community all these years, and so this award is in the words of Councillor Anderson, well-deserved. But I just also want to point out a story that even after you were when I was first voted on in my first term, you lost your seat, but even then you were ready to impart advice, and you were still involved and active in the community. And I mean, you got yourself reelected, so it was, I mean, a testament to your contribution to this community. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Meyer. Councillor Laurie.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you, Councillor Hansard. 20 years is an incredible amount of time to serve a community. You know, we've thought about a little bit about, okay, well, what words describe Pat? And the first one that came to my mind was feisty, because absolutely, you were absolutely feisty and you're courageous. And many times you have stood up in these chambers, figuratively and literally, for things that you felt were right. And I appreciate your honesty and your candor in that. But it's also balanced with an extreme level of care and compassion for this community, for our staff, for your colleagues, and for everyone. And so that is some incredible attributes. Having the will and the heart to return, as you so affectionately call it, as a retread to this council, again, just shows that commitment. You were never one to back down. That is absolutely for sure, and it is something that I admire greatly about you. It was said, and I want to reiterate it, not just a thank you to you, but a thank you to your family. It takes an incredible amount of work, and for your family to give up the time that they give up with you in order for you to have done what you've done over the 20 years to serve this community and beyond the council bench is amazing. So thank you so much for everything.
Thank you, Councillor Laurie. And yes, Councillor Hansard, again, you definitely have my accolades and my support. You have helped me along over the last 20 years to get to the person that I am today, so thank you. Councillor Hansard, anything to say?
Well, thank you so much for that. Well, all you've got to do is hit the 20-year mark, and all the stuff hoped your colleagues on council might think or say about you comes out. So it's really a blessing. I just want to say, I have a personal philosophy, and that is never let anybody tell you who you are, and never let anybody tell you when you're done. So after serving 16 years and becoming an unelected official, I determined that I absolutely would not just fade away like so many do. They leave council and you hardly ever see them around town. They don't attend anything. I'm not saying everybody, but we can all think of examples of that. And it just seems so wrong to me that you would have the fortitude, the guts, the stick-to-itiveness to come, not just to these meetings, but all of your committee meetings, and then just disappear. And so I don't think anybody, no matter what happens in this election that we're running in now, don't disappear. I've gotten bold enough to come get you and drag you out. And I will come and get you. Get in the car. And you owe the people of this community more than just disappearing, because many of them helped put you in your seat that you now hold. So don't just disappear. The other thing that I think is important is that in any election, there will be some who will wish you gone, and there will be many who will wish you stay. And you hope when you're running in an election that more will wish you to stay than wish you gone. But you can't control what happens, who actually shows up for the election. So make a determination now that your time here may not be over. It may be not this time. And honestly, I don't know if anybody on this council has ever done it before. I wasn't ever going to run again because there's a certain sting that comes with serving 16 years and then being voted off council. I will tell you, honestly, it hurt. But there's a process you go through, and in a year, you are over it. You're okay, fully okay. And people were wanting me to come back again, and I thought, oh my goodness, what will that do to the people sitting up there? Because they'll see me as potentially not happy with them. Please know, if you'll remember, I came into council chambers, for those of you who were sitting here at that time, and encouraged you and gave you what I would call my blessing to carry forward. Because I felt then, and I feel now, that each one of us has the opportunity to hand over a tremendously successful term on this council. Never mind what some may say. This has been an extremely successful council. I'm proud of the fact that we didn't agree on everything. And some of it came out here for the benefit of viewers who like watching Monday night drama. But the truth is, you have the ability to carry forward no matter what. And you can return too. If nothing else, I hope you'll take that example. If you get voted off this time, you can come back. Goodness gracious, who would have thought that Pat Hansard would do that? But here I am. And what a privilege it's been to sit with these council members. It's actually been a privilege to sit with every council that I served with. Wonderful counselors who left legacies. The other thing that I would say to you, if I had to size up my councils that I've served on, this one would be right up there at the top, because it's been a journey to get where we are, and I don't feel that it's over for any of you. I, in fact, don't even think it's over for me, but we will see what the people say. And no matter what they say, the voter does have a right to speak. So go forward. And always remember that what you put in place while you're sitting on council is a legacy. Everything, every decision you've made is a legacy you've left for the town of Stony Plain. So I bless you and I thank you all for your kind comments this evening.
Okay. Thank you for those wise words of wisdom, Councillor Hansard. For those that do not know, the Alberta Municipalities has a conference every year. This year, it will be held in Calgary on November 12th, 13th, and 14th, and that is when Councillor Hansard will be presented the award for distinguished service. So I look forward to being there and supporting you, Councillor. Okay, moving on with our agenda, we'll move to number 5, which is statutory public hearings. We have nothing scheduled tonight, so moving on to the adoption of council minutes. And it's the regular council minutes of September 22nd, 2025. Councillor Plechko.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. The Town Council approved the September 22nd, 2025 regular council meeting minutes as presented.
Thank you. Members of council, you have the opportunity to review them. Any errors, omissions, or spelling mistakes that we need to correct or highlight, or any questions that may be not too clear in the minutes? Okay, didn't see any either, so I'll call the question. All in favor? And that is carried. Okay, moving on to agenda number 7, which is council boards and committee minutes. 7.1 and 7.2 is the Meridian Housing Foundation of June 26th, and also 7.2, which is the Stony Plain Public Library of August 20th. Members of council, any questions for clear understanding to the members? Okay, go ahead. You have.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just on page 22, under the Meridian Housing Foundation minutes, resolution 035/2025. This is a very committed and dedicated board as they exited closed session at 12:29 a.m. I don't believe they were there after midnight, as the adjournment time was 12:30 p.m. So just if the member wants to take that back for amendment.
I definitely will. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So that is on page 22. Thank you. Any questions or comments? Okay, I do have a question regarding the Meridian Housing Foundation minutes to the member appointed. Deputy Mayor Loynes, can you just offer some kind of commentary on the affordable housing conversation with Meridian Housing Foundation? I know the members of the board are in favor except for the Parkland County representative. So is there such a little bit of background or some little history there, please? I believe that was not in closed session, so I think that is.
No, it was not in closed session. So as we are aware, Parkland County has a very different view on what affordable housing looks like. Being a county versus a city or a town, it's not that they're opposed to affordable housing, they just don't necessarily see the need in their own area for affordable housing. And so the member that voted, who was opposed to the approval of a contribution made, was just due to the fact that in Parkland County, they don't have affordable housing as they feel. And when we talk about affordable housing in Spruce and Stony, they don't feel that the residents actually use them, because by the time they come to Spruce or Stony, they are now Spruce or Stony residents.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, and then I have a question to the library board member, Councilor Plechko, in terms of the minutes on page number 26. Just seeking a little bit of clarity there. So there was a motion to change the Sunday opening policy for November 2nd, 9th, 16th, and then 23rd. Can you provide a little background on that, please?
Quite often in the Sundays, the library is closed. So what they're talking about doing is more openings per the agenda that we've put forward. And the additional funding that was provided earlier this year, it's just to provide longer service hours to the community.
Okay, thank you. And so my next question is, then there are 5 Sundays in November, so will there be another conversation amongst the library board members for November 30th and onwards to be open?
That's a great question. I didn't notice that there was only 4 there, so I will put that forward to the,
Okay, thank you. And just please provide that feedback
and
through.
I'll provide feedback to you, yep.
Thank you. Members of council, any other questions for clear understanding on those 2 board and committee minutes? Okay, seeing none. Councillor Meyer for the motion, please.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. The town council receive the council, board, and committee minutes for information.
Thank you, Councillor Meyer. Any questions, comments, and debate to accept for information? See none, I'll call the question. All in favor? That is carried. Moving on to number 8 of our agenda is bylaws, and today we have nothing scheduled tonight, so we can move along, which makes it a little bit less cumbersome. Moving on to number 9 is business items. So 9.1 is the strategic and corporate plans for Q3. Administration, go ahead.
Good evening, Your Worship and Council. Provided for your review and consideration is a report on the strategic plan and corporate plan progress of key initiatives for the third quarter of 2005. With the approved corporate plan in Q4 of 2024 and the strategic plan updated and approved in Q1 of this year, administration is both advancing the priorities, projects, and services and monitoring their outcomes and impacts. The details of the progress report that are included in the agenda package beginning on page 31. Notable updates included in the report, I'll just highlight, not everything, but just some highlights, beginning with the actions addressed in the governance and partners pillar. We conducted the recruitment of public members for council, committee, and boards. That will be presented following the organizational meeting of council in November. Hosting of the Truth and Reconciliation Ceremony in collaboration with regional partners on September 30th. An update to the solid waste bylaw to accommodate the expansion of waste cart services. Construction and completion and opening of the new Public Works building. And an update to the snow and ice removal policy and approval of a new board and committee appointment policy. Shifting to the community development pillar. In Q3, it included the second half of our very active summer event season, which included hosting of our annual Canada Day, horse and wagon mural tours, outdoor movie, summer sessions, cultural campfires, Midsummer Thursdays, and Alberta Culture Days. In mid-September, a collaborative celebration was hosted at the newly named Hall Park, which included the unveiling of 2 new art pieces of town public for the public art collection, as well as hosting Gather and Grow Day. Shifting down, the recent completion and presentation of the youth engagement strategy, which was shared with the public and presented to council. Moving to the progress in the third quarter within the supportive infrastructure pillar. A groundbreaking ceremony was hosted for the pickleball and tennis courts that are being constructed in Old Town South next to the outdoor pool. And the Forest of Hope was opened with a ceremony raising awareness and healing about suicide prevention and its impacts while contributing to the healthy and sustainable forest. Within the Economic Opportunities pillar, Mayor and Council were hosted for a meeting with the newly appointed Government of Alberta Minister of Municipal Affairs, Dan Williams. This meeting was primarily an opportunity to advocate for further partnership, investment, and collaboration to support development along the provincial highway corridors of 16A, 779, and 628. In alignment with that, the town and local developers are specifically advancing in the intersection improvements along Highway 16A at 28th Street in 2026 to support commercial development in the North Business Park. Collaboration and request for support from the provincial government is ongoing at this point. The final pillar of environmental responsibility notes a number of events that were supported, including an urban garden workshop, the Shredded event, and Gather and Grow Day. The final section of the report includes a status update on corporate plan initiatives that are directly supporting the advancement of the strategic plan, and those include the Old Town South Redevelopment Initiative, which is a multi-year project to support the redevelopment of the neighborhood in and around Old Town, supported by the guidance of the Old Town Community Plan. The corporate systems strategy, which is currently undertaking the second phase of our enterprise resource planning software, as well as a number of proposed software upgrades in future years. The cemetery initiative, which is currently the cemetery facility is under construction in Range Road, just on Range Road 12, and scheduled for completion later this year, with operations to commence in 2026. And the final corporate initiative is the Community Volunteer Leadership Development Program, which is currently procuring services for the program development and will be under full implementation in 2026. Those are my comments regarding the report, and we would welcome any questions from council at this time. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for the presentation and definitely the highlights. As you can see, there's quite a few things that have happened in the last quarter. So again, the town is bustling and active with investment, excitement, and community. Members of council, any questions for clarity and understanding? Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you, Administration, for the report. It's actually something I was looking for. Back in July, Council accepted the residential speed reduction report, and I was just kind of looking for it, and I was wondering if there was a reason it wouldn't be in this report.
Okay. Go ahead, Administration.
Your Worship, we could provide a bit of an update as to where that's at. It wouldn't necessarily show up in this report in that it wasn't identified specifically, I don't think, in the strat plan or the corporate plan. It was, part of an ongoing dialogue with council. So I think, for the most part, this report is tracking very specifically what was identified in the corporate or strategic plan. But if I could maybe get the General Manager of Planning and Infrastructure to provide any comment or update on the implementation aspect of the speed reductions.
Go ahead to the General Manager.
Through your worship to Councillor Meyer and all of council. Since the July update to council, the administration is looking to action any of the proposed, pardon my stutter this morning, or this afternoon, is looking to action how we can move forward with the proposed speed reductions. That is something we're talking internally right now, in line with the schedule that was presented to council. It is something that we're aiming at for 2026. I don't currently, at this time, have a hard schedule in front of me, but the timelines that we outlined to council are something we're aiming at.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Thank you. Moving on to Councillor Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have two questions this evening. One is specific to the Together We Shine initiative and an inclusion strategy there. I believe at the beginning of September, we had a note from our CAO that that inclusion strategy would come into council in the third quarter of this year, and we haven't seen that, so just looking for an update on when the new iteration of council would expect to see that report specifically.
Okay, Administration.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you to Councillor Anderson and the rest of council. Administration has received early draft copies of the accessibility reports that were conducted on town facilities. We're still in the stages of reviewing them and going back and forth with the Rick Hansen Foundation, who was the consultant who developed them. They've had some staffing challenges, and so we're just working around their schedule a little bit to ensure that we're getting the continuity that we feel is important to discuss these reports with the consultant who did the inspections, and ensuring they're as clear as possible when we bring the reports back.
Okay, thank you for that. And if I could just, a quick follow-up, do we have an expected ETA for that? Are we the first quarter 2026, second quarter 2026, or so on?
Administration?
Your Worship, thank you very much. My apologies for missing that. Yes, we're aiming for the first quarter of 2026.
Perfect, thank you for that, and I appreciate hearing that that project or that strategy will come back to the new iteration of council. I do have one more, if I could, Mr. Mayor, and that's just the page 42, specifically to the operations of the cemetery. I know we outlined and was noted that full operations will be 2026, but there has been a little bit of discussion about the possibility of some plots or different things being available for purchase, I guess, at some point within the calendar year. And so just wondering if we have an update there, or are we looking at 2026 now as the beginning of that process?
Go ahead.
Through your worship to Councillor Anderson, all of council. Correct. So our last update to council was during the cemetery bylaw, as well as some, I think there's been some informal updates through council over the last couple of months. So as been noted in the report, the construction is nearing completion. So that's a big important stage. The next steps are we're currently finalizing the fees and charges that would be brought forward to council late in this year. So that would be a first step to looking at our steps to any sort of sales. A couple of things that have to happen before any sales can be contemplated, as been discussed with council, is obtaining a couple of regulatory approvals, including the final cemetery certificate. So that is a provincial regulation. That's a requirement that we have to fulfill upon the completion of the cemetery construction, as well as some administrative tasks. So at this time, we don't have a firm date for when sales are to be started, but we are putting all the track in front of us right now, so that we are constantly aiming at that. We do anticipate some firmer information to council in early 2026 once we get some clarity on the provincial regulations, as well as some internal operations that we are currently standing up right now with our teams to make sure that the service is successful.
Thank you. Certainly appreciate the regulatory pieces that need to be in place before those operations begin. Can administration clarify the public communication strategy that will be used in relation to the cemetery project when we are ready for those operations?
Okay, go ahead.
Through your worship to Councillor Anderson, all of council. Pardon me. Part of the internal operations that I mentioned that we were standing up includes our dialogue with our communications team. So that I don't again have a firm plan in front of me to outline to council, but high level we are involving our comms team on exactly what you're asking, is how we communicate when things are available and how residents can access the service if they so wish.
Perfect. And if I may, Mr. Mayor, just offer something for consideration as that process unfolds. There are many in our seniors housing communities and buildings that have expressed an interest in knowing when and how and why and so on. But they have also expressed that they may not have access or do not have access to the regular means of some of our communication going out digitally and so on. And so just something to consider there, that we may want to consider, whether it's newspaper or otherwise, print means to communicate effectively with all residents within the community.
Thank you, Councillor Anderson. We move on to Councillor Laurie.
Thank you, Your Worship. Question through you to administration. I've got two of them here. First, on page 37, under our diverse modes of transportation planning and infrastructure, part of our active transportation strategy, we had the e-scooter service provided to the town this year. I was hoping that throughout the course of them being in the town, we would see some updates on usage and trends and that. I haven't seen anything from the provider yet. Just wondering if they've made any commitment to providing something to the next iteration of council here before the year end, so they can make a determination whether that service will continue next year.
Go ahead, administration.
Your Worship, through to Councillor Laurie. Certainly, they've committed at the termination of the program for this year, they would provide us with some graphs, updates, usage of the scooters, particularly in the areas of the community. So I think similar to Spruce Grove, their first year, they learned that the scooters were going more east-west than north-south, so that helped determine some of the routes that they landed on. So certainly, they've committed the same. I think before the 20th of October, we can see if they can provide us some rough information so that this particular sitting council has that information for sure.
Go ahead.
Excellent.
Question?
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And then on page 40, looking at the initiatives through the Urban Agricultural Master Plan. We passed the urban beekeeping and urban hen keeping bylaws, which those two programs are to launch in 2026. So we're kind of quickly approaching 2026. I'm just wondering if we have the framework in place for those programs to launch, or if we have an anticipated time when residents will be able to, he's playing with buttons over there. When residents will be able to start applying for that program, as there is a regulatory process around things that they have to achieve and complete. And so wondering a little bit about, whether we're set up and ready to go, when we'll be set up and ready to go, and what kind of communication will go along with that to let residents know what's expected with that program.
Good. Do you have an update, please?
Through your worship, Councillor Laurie and all of council, I think you're reading my mind this morning, because that was something I asked our staff this morning as well. So I did follow up with our manager of planning and our planning team about this briefly this morning, and I'm told that we're on track for the January 1st start date. I did ask for some more details to be sent to me. I don't have those right in front of me at this time, but I do see that the staff are working diligently towards that January 1st start date, and I didn't get any concerns from them from my informal ask this morning.
Excellent, thank you. And just kind of a tag-along follow-up on that, with the new ERP system for the town, there was talk about residence portal for licensing and viewing tax notices and all those kind of things. Just wondering if that's kind of close to a point in time where we will see that rolled out to residents, and if so, if programs like urban hen keeping and beekeeping will be tied in for like the applications, licenses, and so on.
Administration.
Thank you, Worship. Through to Councillor Laurie and all of council. So the second phase of the ERP is coming along very well, and so we do expect to see some testing to occur in the first quarter of 2026 related to taxes, utilities, and some of that will tie into the other component of the work that the town is doing for the e-permitting and online permitting. So we are kind of referring to that overall as a citizen portal, because that will be an online avenue for all of our residents to be able to get through for taxes, utilities, as well as some of the permitting. And so I actually can't confirm directly. I might put this to the Planning and Infrastructure General Manager if the beekeeping and chickens will be a component of that online.
Okay. Thank you. Go ahead.
Through your worship, the Councillor Laurie and all of council, in line with the general manager's comments, that's part of the details that I was seeking to flesh out this morning as well. So that's something that I'll follow up on.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. That's all from me, Your Worship.
Thank you. Any other questions for clear understanding from members of council? Councillor Loyens, Deputy Mayor, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a quick question through you to administration. I know it says Q1 and Q2 of 2025 for the policing committee bylaw and appointments approval. It was brought to my attention that people are still wondering what's going on with that committee. Do we have an update at all as to where it stands?
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, Your Worship, I just missed the question quickly. Was that the policing committee? Is that, okay, thanks.
Yes, go ahead.
Your Worship, through the Deputy Mayor Loyens. Certainly, we're waiting for clearances on our committee members. To date, I have received one of the many that have been sent through the province for those clearances to be completed. Yep. Unfortunately, we can't start any formal activity with that committee until we get the clearances back.
Thank you, that's all.
Thank you. And one more time around before we move on to round two. Okay. Just a question in terms of, I think we had the Shredder event a couple weeks ago. How did that go in terms of responses from our residents?
Pardon me, Your Worship, through to all council, I had actually asked that when the event happened, and I'm just trying to dig up what staff sent me. I can't find it real quick, but I understand it was well attended. I did get some stats on attendance. I'm just trying to dig those up right now.
Okay, thank you, and I appreciate that. And definitely, it's a program that we need to continue to grow and expand, especially with the amount of cybersecurity out there and people stealing identities. I think it should be well used and well expanded, especially with that's happening in their communities. Going back to Councillor Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to pick up actually on something Councillor Loyens asked, just for my own clarity, and that was related to the police committee. The holdup, I think I heard, was on the province side. We're not waiting on those who have been selected to the committee to submit their paperwork. We're waiting for the processing on the province side. Would that be correct?
Go ahead.
Your Worship, through to Councillor Anderson, that's correct. All committee members have submitted their security clearance applications to the province of Alberta, and they're conducting it through their avenues.
Perfect, thank you for that. And then I did have one other question. This is page 41 of our agenda package under Old Town South redevelopment. Looking at 2027, we see 2027 stormwater design, 100,000, then underneath 2027, 51 street construction, $250,000. Is it safe to assume this is the design of 51st Street? We're not building 51st Street for $250,000, are we? I mean, if we are, that's fantastic, but.
Page 41. Go ahead, administration, and that would probably be General Manager of Planning Infrastructure.
Thank you, Your Worship, to the Councillor Anderson, all of council. That's correct. That's a preliminary design cost that we're holding in that year right now. You agree with your statement that we'd be very fortunate to be able to build the road for that value, and we certainly would like to aim at that. But that is the design cost that we're holding.
Okay, and then a quick peek at our corporate plan, long-term planning. We don't have 51st Street planned out within the next 10 years. Obviously, that can change with future iterations of the corporate plan. Is that correct? We don't have a target year yet for the completion of that project.
Go ahead.
Through Your Worship, the Councillor Anderson, all of council. Correct. So just add some comments. These are the Old Town South redevelopment plan is a high overarching plan of the vision for Old Town South. So there's a number of different tactical and strategic items that we aim at in that plan. Everything from policy to hard infrastructure design and redevelopment. So we do, when we are developing these plans and presenting to the council, we are trying to put forward a well-balanced snapshot of where we could be going in the next couple of years and where the discussions on big steps will be. So as of right now, this is from the report. Those are the years that we're aiming at to start those conversations, and ultimately, as we flesh out the area for what the community and council see it going, that's where we'll start to see some harder numbers and dates put in.
Thank you, and just a final comment, if I may, Mr. Mayor. Yep. Certainly sitting on the Heritage Ag Society board, I know there's some wonder on their part as to when some of these things are going to be actioned in Old Town South that may directly impact the work that they're doing and the property that they have there. And so just a note for consideration to ensure we are engaging with them as this flushes out in future years. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Councilor Anderson. Any other questions for clear understanding? Okay. Sina, just have one quick question in terms of the corporate plan, the strategic plan, usually like highlighted in our kind of news feeds, social media and stuff. Is there a way to get this out in a print copy?
Just for clarification, Your Worship, are you referring to the report that's presented here in council chambers tonight?
That's correct. We usually have little snippets of it through our social media feeds and different avenues. So I'm just wondering if there's a print option.
Yes, that is correct, that we do, this would be included in the highlights that goes out in our communications. Typically, it would be the day after tomorrow, the council meeting, and we would reference a link to the agenda package report, and so that would be the reference point for that, but we can certainly look at how we can package this in a standalone version. We haven't typically done that because this has been often an update for council directly, but that's something we can take into consideration going forward. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it, and definitely going through the community over the last couple months, still quite a few people that are reliant on print media for their news. We all know that the reporter is not as engaged as they were in the past. And so some of the suggestions that I've had networking and talking to our community members is maybe we need a little leaflet in our utility bill. Like not everything that we see here, but maybe once a month we have, 4 items on it, 2 on one side, flip it over, there's 2 on the other side, just so that they have an idea of what's happening within the town. Some of the conversations that I've had is like, oh, I didn't realize you guys did that. I'm like, yeah, that was 6 months ago. So I think there is a little bit of a misstep there in terms of engaging our residents, just to make sure that they're informed. And many of them are still relying on print media to do that. And as I meant, the reporter is not as vibrant as it used to be. So something like that is very easy for us to do, is just add a leaflet into our thing so that our residents stay on top of the high-arching stuff that may affect their lives. Thank you. Any other questions for clear understanding? Oh, Councilor Lawrie for the motion, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move that Town Council accept the Strategic and Corporate Plan Q3 2025 report for information.
Thank you. Members of Council, any questions and comment and debate on the motion to accept for information? Councilor Hansard?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I didn't have questions or other items to bring before in the earlier period, but under this, I'd like to make a comment. This has been an extremely busy year. It's reports like this that give us an opportunity to reflect on everything that's been accomplished. Council puts things into motion by raising your hand or not, on various items, but our staff is responsible for making a lot of this happen and make it work. And when you look at the overall picture, it's actually amazing how many things get accomplished. We're talking 3/4 of a year here. This isn't even the full year report. And as I read through this for this evening's meeting, it's almost like going back through your calendar and seeing the various things that you had to do, those you got accomplished and those you didn't. I don't know what the list looks like for those things that didn't get done, but this is pretty impressive to me, and it shows a well-working machine, not just on council's part, but particularly on the staff part, and with the senior leadership team guiding and steering all of this. So thanks to everyone for bringing us thus far in this year. And I'm curious to see what the year-end report will look like. We'll see that probably in the early new year. But you can look back over this year and certainly feel proud of what's been accomplished, and it certainly gives us ideas of things that we may want to work on further, or new ideas that spring from this to take into strategic planning in January of 2026. So thank you for allowing those comments, Mr. Mayor, but it's really pretty impressive.
Yes, it is, Councilor Hansard, and definitely that's why my comments through my campaigning is we definitely need an extra avenue to get some of this information out. Okay. Any more questions, comments, and debate on the motion? Call the question, all in favor? That is carried. On time, we're going to go to 9.2, which is the 2024 financial update. Go ahead, administration.
Thank you. Good evening, Your Worship and Council. Included in your council package tonight is the 2024 year-end financial trends report. This evening, we will highlight a few important financial indicators and the analytics behind them. The data provided reflects trends from the past 10 years, offering insights into potential future outcomes and illustrating the future direction of the town. This report is presented annually prior to corporate planning to provide trends and analysis in compliance with the Accounting and Financial Reporting Policy, CFFS 028. Financial condition is the ability for an institution to maintain service levels, withstand economic disruptions, and meet demands. When assessing the town's financial condition, there are some key questions we must ask, such as, can the local government pay for what it is doing now? Are there sufficient reserves or other financial vehicles available for financing emergencies? Is there enough financial flexibility for local government to adjust to change? These are key questions to ask to ensure fiscal sustainability into the future when making decisions. As we move into the corporate planning cycle, it's important to understand the historical trends and our comparators trends. Industrial Price Index, or inflation, is presented as a point of reference as to the economy over the past 10 years. Given the diverse nature of municipal expenses and revenues, applying inflation universally would not provide an accurate representation, and this is better suited as a point of reference. Industrial Price Index for 2024 was recorded at 4.1% as per Statistics Canada. These amounts are calculated as of December 31st of each year over the prior year. The chart on the screen shows population for the last 10 years, as well as forecasted population as per the town's population and employment forecast completed in December 2022. The most recent federal census was completed in 2021. Prior to that, 2026 was the last published date. The town of Stony Plain population numbers for 2021 to 2024 were taken from the Government of Alberta Census Subdivision Municipal Population Estimates. The next federal census is scheduled for May 2026. Revenue and expenditure trends are an indicator of pace maintained regarding inflation, services added, and corresponding revenue. Comparing these metrics as a per capita layers on the population growth to ensure the town is keeping pace with growth pressures. Prior to 2020, the gap was closing between revenue and expenditures. For the past 4 years, this seems to have leveled out and will continue to be monitored. If expenses were to grow at a faster rate than revenue or population, this trend would be unsustainable and indicate reserves being used to fund expenses. On the chart on the screen, the town's operating revenue and expenditures are growing at a healthy and sustainable amount. Regarding revenue per capita, Stony Plain consistently hovers above the median as related to the comparison group with a stable increase. When operating revenue per capita is adjusted for inflation, you can see a large decrease in the revenue. Revenue is a combination of grants, taxes, and sales and user charges. This chart shows the revenue per capita actually going down from 10 years ago, meaning it has not kept pace with inflationary factors. As benchmarked against our competitors listed on page 64, Stony Plain has continued to steadily remain above the median in operating expenditures per capita. 2024 spike is contributable to software system upgrades and the Housing Accelerator Fund spend, increasing expenses temporarily for 2024, offset by grants and reserves. The largest source of revenue for the town is property taxes. Stony Plain has remained at the lower end of the comparative municipalities in terms of property taxes per capita. However, new services have been added over the past 10 years and more on the horizon for future years. Stony Plain remains consistent as slightly below the median and on the low range. Assessment is a key component to property tax revenue and has shown consistent growth. In 2021, Council approved an updated revenue and taxation policy which transitioned the current tax rate split between residential and non-residential to that of the average of the urban Edmonton Metropolitan Region board members. Our tax rate split for 2024 was the final staged rate shift of the policy and was capped at 1.4 as defined at the maximum. This tax rate split helps maintain a sustainable tax base with an equitable division of tax share. The percentage of non-residential assessment continues to increase, resulting from the north and south business park growth. This policy was reviewed in 2025 tax year, going forth maintaining a tax rate split between the residential and non-residential to an average of 7 comparative municipalities through the Edmonton region, including Stony Plain, Spruce Grove, St. Albert, Morinville, Leduc, Fort Saskatchewan, Devon, Beaumont, less a 0.5%. These are the former EMRB members, less Edmonton. Reserve balances are another key financial indicator and have slightly bumped above the median. Reserve balances for the town have historically been lower than the median or near the bottom of the range. The slight increase in 2024 is attributable to year-end transfers to reserves for future debenture servicing, totaling close to $1 million, and an RCMP surplus of $400,000, all being one-time events and reversed in 2025. Reserve balance is a measure of the municipality saving for future needs, inclement events, or flexibility for unforeseen challenges. Through the fiscal sustainability framework and update of an unrestricted surplus policy, guidelines for reserve standards and optimal balances were developed. This policy guides the future of reserve balances that is used in conjunction with the corporate plan, which identifies future reserve needs and the ability to grow reserve levels to meet the needs and optimal balances. Council also committed a 1% transfer to infrastructure and equipment in 2021, which has improved the financial health of the town's reserves. Long-term debt as a percentage of total assessment has stayed flat due to no debenture draws in 2024, offset by continued debenture payments. As such, the town has the highest rating of AAA, which is excellent based on the Global Credit Rating Agency. As part of the fiscal sustainability framework and updated debt policy, Council implemented an internal debt limit of 80% of the allowable debt limit, which implies prudent, affordable debt balances. Future debt limits will continue to be monitored and presented through the corporate planning process and measured against the debt limit. Council's approval of the fiscal sustainability framework in 2021 has solidified future guidance regarding a multitude of financial aspects for the town. These policies take time to work towards optimal balances and decisions that will change the future fiscal health of the town. As we move into the 2026 to 2028 corporate planning sessions, these trends will assist in understanding financial condition of the municipality into the future and support administration's recommendations. I will now be happy to answer any questions you may have regarding the presentation.
Okay, thank you for the presentation, and I'd definitely like to see that we're in a positive trend in terms of our financial stability and sustainability within our community. Members of council, questions for clarity and understanding? Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Your Worship, and I'm just going to refer to page 74 of the larger report there. And it speaks about equalized assessment per capita comparison. There's a lot of big words there. I'm wondering if you can maybe just explain this to me so that I can understand and what it means for the town.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, through your worship, to Councillor Meyer and all of council. So equalized assessment is a process that the province takes on to provide consistency throughout the municipalities in regards to the assessment data that is provided to them. So after applying the equalized assessment, equalized assessment is what is used to allocate grants effectively from the province. And as such, noted there just puts all the municipalities on equal playing ground. And so that is what was used in this chart for a per capita comparison.
Good. Okay, if I could just follow up, in the paragraph underneath, it points out that we are, what's the phrase it uses? We are sort of off the chart or outside the range. I'm just curious, is this, you say it's used to allocate grants. I'm curious, is our position that then that we are a community likely to see grants, or we're kind of getting more than our fair share? I'm just, or is that like even the right way to look at this?
Go ahead.
Thank you, through your worship, to Councillor Meyer. So this would be for the allocated grants that are from the provincial government. And so those grants, all municipalities receive. They just want to make sure that everyone is using the accurate and same measure for assessment, and that the grant is distributed on the same basis for all municipalities. So it wouldn't impact any other grants that we would, one-off grants that we would apply through different programs.
Okay. Any other questions? Councilor Lowry.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you for the presentation this evening. I do have two questions. The first is in regards to this being the 2024 year-end financial trend report. I'm wondering, we obviously have some pretty big changes on the horizon, and that is both on the debenture side of things as well as some pretty significant assessment that is coming into the town through economic development and potential growth. I'm just wondering, are we going to see in the future some more financial forecast type reports? Like this is fantastic in looking backwards and understanding, what we managed to achieve through the policies that were set in place in 2021. It shows us good trends and to where the health of the municipality finished the year in 2024. But there's been a lot of hard work done, and I'm just trying to see as we continue to look forward and we look into the future and to help with future decision making, is there some type of financial trend forecast report that can be done and provided to council?
Go ahead, Administration.
Thank you, through your worship, to Councillor Lowry and all of council. So the current mechanism that is used is the corporate planning document that does project out 10 years of reserves, 10 years of debenture, etc. That right now is the only mechanism that we have been utilizing, not to say that there's opportunity.
Thank you, appreciate that. I think, opportunity is a great word there. I think maybe that's something to review as moving forward. Second question I have, when we looked at, sorry, I'm just looking back for the population growth page 85, in the projection of the population growth, again, understanding that, that will ebb and flow. There's many factors that contribute into that. We know that the federal government only does the census every 5 years. Quite some time ago, the town of Stony Plain went away from doing municipal census, which has kind of left us in a bit of a gap where we're using estimations and guesstimates and those type of numbers as we go forward. Being that as a municipality we have to be quite nimble, I'm just wondering if you can provide some insight on the potential value of a municipal census when it comes to things like financial analysis.
Go ahead, Administration.
Thank you, through your worship, to Councillor Lowry and all of council. So this year we did make a change in this report for that exact reason. So we did use the, sorry, I'm just going to get the right number or the right name here. So we used the Government of Alberta Census municipal population estimates. When we were using historically, we just kept the census and kept it flat. And so as a result, our charts this year didn't make sense. So it was showing, things going down when they were actually going up because of the population, et cetera. And so we did kind of reset that population for us and our comparators starting in 2021 forward. The historical we didn't touch. But I did want to, so just touch on that. So we did make that change so that the financial trends were more accurate. In regards to a municipal census, that was something that was taken out. And maybe I'll just put it over to the town manager to talk just in relation to kind of the grants and that sort of thing.
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. I could maybe speak to a couple of things there. I'll maybe go back to the original question too. But so let me gather some thoughts here for a second. A question about future forecast versus this particular report, which is, it is more of the here's where we are, here's the numbers behind us and how we got there, or how we got to be where we are today. I guess I would just put out there that we can report on a lot of things, but this one is what it is. It is a sort of a backcast. The idea is just simply, here's where we are, and we're going to be moving forward. But here's what's happened, and here's where we've come to, and there's value in that. Just as there's value in what are some of the projections, and I think the manager indicated parts of the corporate plan include some projections going out into the future in 3 years, 5 years, whatever. So I think there's value to both. And I think this one is also intended, as opposed to a future, I don't want to say prediction, but just what was a trend going into the future? What might we see? And I know council has seen these reports in different ways. Here's a high, low, median, projection or whatever. The notion with this one is just simply it's a snapshot of what's happened in the past. And generally speaking, council administration will be aware of decisions made in the past and how they impacted one way or the other. So I think again, just to frame that, there's value to both. And as we continue to, I would say, mature, professionalize, and evolve, I would appreciate and expect that our projections will become more timely and more sophisticated and so on and so forth. So I think there's a future road there. As to the census, short answer, more accurate data is going to help those projections, whether they're, received through, Stats Canada, which, is done every 5 years, but there's also a lag to those. By the time you get them, they are already a year old. Again, in a community that's not necessarily growing, it might not be quite so much of a big deal. In a community that is growing, those numbers, even a year behind, can make a difference. I'm sure council is aware there's a lot of data in a federal census, but a municipal census can also include other types of questions other than just, how many people live here, but household size, and you can ask anything you want, frankly. And the data there is not just valuable as a financial thing, but also in a programming or a planning perspective as to, are we getting younger? Are we getting older? Where are those age brackets at? All of that sort of stuff that comes into play. So again, I think in my course of 15 years, I believe we've done probably about 3 or 4 municipal census in the last 15 years. They were typically staggered in between the federal ones. Part of the conversation we've had internally was whether to go forward and try to do one in advance or just allow that one to take place and stagger in behind there. I think as the manager indicated, we're not coming forward into the corporate plan with a recommendation to do one in the 26 or 27 year, or 28, I don't believe. So there is not one projected in. That's what will be presented in the corporate plan within the next month or so. The other question that comes up often, if Your Worship, if I get a little liberty here to go a little bit longer, but how do those numbers affect grants? And again, some grants will have, overall assessments, kilometers per road, so on and so forth, but they typically will have some form of a population a number. Again, in a growing community, and we could crunch the numbers exactly, but it depends on what the province does with any one of their grants. If they increase those amounts, then you'll go up proportionally. I would say that as a growing community, as your population comes in and your grant goes up, that's typically a good thing. The other challenge that I've seen, depending on how they structure their provincial or federal grants, is that there's X amount of dollars. So the other communities that are growing will pull some of that money. And in effect, you can have a reduction just on the fact that other growing communities are increasing their share of the overall grant amount. So a bit of an editorial there, but there's a few different thoughts on that particular question.
That's good. That's good commentary. And then also, with a lot of the grants that we see, the provincial government and the federal governments have used the backstop as the most recent federal election, and that's why the provincial government also stopped doing their provincial census, because they were no longer funding on those. So that's one of the reasons why the town sewing plan stopped as well. But I'm glad to see that we're using some estimates, which gives us a better clarity in terms of our planning, our corporate plan. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thanks to admin. Appreciate the answers to that. And I think they said there's, as was stated, there's a lot of value in data, and whether it's a municipal census or whether we start using our permit data to try and understand what that might be interpreted as, or so on and so forth. I think there's a great opportunity there. The other opportunity that I see from that, and why I kind of asked about the specific in regards to forecast versus the trend report, is when we do the forecast report and then we have the trend report that follows up afterwards, it gives us a great idea and a great example of kind of, how accurate we were. Are we predicting things properly? Are we utilizing the right tools? How well are our policies performing? And essentially building a repertoire of key performance indicators that we can lean back on and determine whether our policies are effective and they're working, or whether there's, grounds for some changes and things there. So again, I think where we are now compared to where we were when these policies were revamped in 2021, I've seen an incredibly positive change, and there's a huge thank you that goes to administration for their hard work on that, and very happy to see the numbers as we see them in the report today.
Thank you, Councillor Lori. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Your Worship. And you can stop me if I'm off on a wrong tangent. I'm okay with that. But through you to administration, going to page 60 out of 97 in our package, and it talks about assessment values. Can you just explain exactly, like the last bullet point, it says in 24 we saw an increase of overall assessment in Stony Plain. There's a lot of misconceptions about how the assessments are actually done, and that the town is over-assessing people's property to increase tax revenues. And I'm just wondering if administration would be able to explain that a little bit better.
Go ahead, administration. That is always a hard issue to explain to residents, that where taxes, our assessment is a year behind based on provincial data. So,
Thank you. Through your worship to Deputy Mayor Loynes and all of council. So assessment, as the mayor just mentioned, is a year behind. And so what residents were taxed on in 2025 would have been based on 2024 assessment, June, actually. So it's actually almost full. It is a full year behind from when you receive your tax notice. It's about 6 months behind from when you receive your assessment notice, which is in early February when they're sent out. So this chart shows the total assessment in the town. And so there are two aspects to assessment. One is growth or new assessment, which helps reduce the tax mill rate for all of the town. And so basically it's saying this is the total assessment of the town, and this is what the taxes will be distributed to this basket of goods, or this total taxable assessment. So part of that is growth. So if the town were not increasing their mill rate at all, based on, basically if they had a corporate plan the exact same as the prior year, we're not asking for any more money, the mill rate would actually go down, because more people are paying for the same basket of goods. So if you take out the growth aspect, assessment is used as a tool to ensure that taxes are equally distributed amongst owners based on what their property value is. That's really the only measure that we have as a municipality to distribute the taxes. And so it's not based on what people earn, it's based on what their property value is. So the assessor assesses each year, provides the assessment in. There are going to be pockets of area that are assessed at a higher value, at a higher assessment due to sales in the area. maybe some development in the area, other things. So you'll see different areas within town will have different average assessment increases. And the main contributor to that is what sales were in the area. So if there's one area of town that hasn't had a sale of a house in a long time, they might have seen small increases just to kind of keep up with the market. But all of a sudden, if someone oversells their house or sells for a very high amount, then all of a sudden that data is utilized. And all of the data that is utilized by our contract assessor, who is a professional, is regulated by legislation and defined what can be used and what cannot be used. And so it's based on actual sales, not if someone just lists their house for double what they think it's worth. And typically on assessment notices, when speaking with residents, it's typically lower than what they would list their house for. There is a process for assessment appeals, which kicks off after the assessments are sent out in February and gives the ability for residents to speak with the assessor at any time throughout the year as well, but also through this process. And I think it was last meeting or the meeting before that we actually had no assessment appeals for the past over 10 years. And so that's just a credit to our assessor in that they're able to resolve and do adjustments prior to going to an appeal.
Thank you. Anything else?
No, that's everything. I just want to thank administration for breaking that down for us.
Add on or no? Okay, go ahead, Councillor Pletchko, and then we'll go back to Councillor Hansard. Go ahead.
You brought up a good point. One that I've heard on the campaign trail a lot, if I could just make a bit of a comment right now. I've heard 100 times on the campaign trail, oh, my assessment is too high. But the first thing that comes out of the next thing that they say is, my neighbor just sold this house that he bought for $450,000. He just sold it today for $650,000. My quick response to that is, notice of assessment is probably less than what he has been sold for, but expect an increase next year when your taxes. So be excited today for the value of the property, but don't be so excited next when the value of that property is also included in your assessment. So I'm glad you explained it that way tonight, because it's hard for a lot of people to understand just how we come up with the assessments in our community. But at the end of the day, when they're talking about people's homes going up, it's usually a reflection of a positive for your community and a good step forward in your community. So yes, you pay a little bit more taxes, but at the end of the day, you're living in an area that is well represented.
Thank you, Councillor Pletchko. Councillor Hansard.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to take an opportunity to go back. If you look at page 65 of 97, is there any number along the Stony Plain population line that is actually an accurate number and not a projection?
So, Councillor Hansard, the last federal census is 2021, so that would be the baseline.
So 18,556 is an actual real in lifetime number. That was our population in 2021.
Yes, go ahead, Administration.
Thank you, through your worship, to Councillor Hansard and all of council. So the census was done in 2021, and the actual census data was 17,933, I want to say, or around there, 17,000. So we did adjust based on the government of the government of Alberta's projections. And so we did update 2021 going forward. So anything past our historical would have been based on census previous.
Okay. Well, thank you for that, because I think it's worth noting that, well, I have mentioned a few times while sitting on council that I really see a value in a municipal census. And I know that doesn't fly real well in this room because it does cost some money and we don't get to use it for much. But here we are at conferences and we have minister meetings, and we're advocating for an expansion or more attention being paid to our hospital, and we advocate for funds to help pay for the recreation center to meet our growing population needs. And if I sat here for another few minutes with nothing else on my mind, I could come up with a little bit longer list of the various things that we use population to make our argument over and over and over again to different levels of government and people in different positions. But without more solid information, it's hard for us, I would imagine, to maybe be taken seriously by people in higher chairs of government than we sit in. I am glad to see this projection being used because it does give us a more real picture. And yet I note that we built our strat plan around, if I'm not mistaken, last year and moved in this direction the year before, a population reaching 30,000 in the year, was that in the year 2030? Am I correct about that, Mr. Mayor? Was that the year we anticipated potentially having a population of 2030? Sorry.
Yes, actually, we were looking at, the projection was a couple years ago, so we were looking at the 2035, so it was a 10-year projection.
Okay, it was all pretend numbers. What ifs?
That is what we're striving for, so that's why our staff has now used the Government of Alberta's growth projections based on subdivision growth and development.
Okay.
And that's why we've seen, right now, as in this page, as you mentioned, in 2024, it's projected that the town of Swain Plain has a population of 19,300, which is far more than the 17,993 that was done during the census in 2021.
Okay, thank you. So here we sit on the dawn of 2026, and we're a little bit behind in those numbers, but we're not using real numbers. We're using projections and numbers that we're trying to plan for without having a census, except once every X number of years with the federal census. And I'm not saying the municipal census would be absolutely definitive, but I think it would give us a more accurate number. So I'll put in my last plug this term for possibly looking at doing a municipal census. The reason I think it's important is we make a lot of our points with various entities, higher levels of government for funding, et cetera, based on our projected population growth. The truth is, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to drive around town and see all the construction that's going on and the subdivisions filling out. And we sit in council chambers and we listen to projections and requests for development to move forward, to approve the zoning for certain types of housing, because we anticipate growing. And there's no reason not to think we will, with the amount of people who are in-migrating and immigrating into the province of Alberta. There was a period of time when we were taking in about 200,000 people a year into the province of Alberta, roughly a city the size of Red Deer every year for a few years, and that's what spurred great construction and a boom, so to speak, in many sectors of our economy. And this past 2 years have rivaled that, I believe. I never thought I would see again what we saw in 2005, 6, 7, which actually had Stony Plain's population bursting forward. And yet here it happened again. We had a huge surge in our population into the province and our growth in this area, and developers and builders meeting the need by coming forward with their plans through planning and infrastructure to build and develop and help us build our town. The point is we have to deal with what is, and some of what we're working with isn't really what is, it's what we think is. And so I commend those who have to sit in the seats where these numbers are crunched and the numbers come up. But in all honesty, the numbers look low. They look low to me. I'll look forward to a day when I'll be proven right or wrong, and I'm okay if I get proven wrong. However, I think we need to continue to move forward, and as strategic planning is only a couple of months away, I would think it would behoove us to not let go of those things that we have talked about in the past and what we anticipate is likely to be, could be, might very well be the growth of Stony Plain. Some of those things that we plan to do based on a growing population are still important to embrace and to move forward with, because if not now, a little bit later, we will soon see those numbers. So thank you for the report. I thoroughly enjoyed. I like the graphs. It helps me to understand a lot of what is written there, and I appreciate the choice of communities that were used as the comparators in a number of these charts. That also was very helpful, and I noted that none of them were our immediate neighbors because we're not their sized populations, but we sure are still growing. And I noticed chart after chart after chart, the trend lines were moving up. If something happens for 1 or 2 months, it's just an anomaly. But when it starts happening for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, it is absolutely a trend. And I think it behooves us with people who have educations in these areas to be well aware as council members of what we are looking at, because it helps us to be better at doing the job that we've been elected to do, and it helps the town, I think, to spend a little time helping us all to understand these numbers. And sometimes the questions that we ask might seem ignorant to those who are schooled better in these matters, but sometimes those raw questions are exactly the same questions that are in the minds of our public. And so in answering us, you're really answering the public's need to know what's really going on in our town. So thank you for listening to my comments about that, and just hear appreciation for all of the work that went into presenting us with this information in this report this evening. Thank you.
That's great, great comments. Thank you, Councillor Hansard. And that's exactly why our staff has started to use the Government of Alberta's numbers and projections so that we can actually have that and track it so we have a better understanding. And I think that's probably one of the best ways to do it is because the government of Alberta knows how many people are coming into Alberta. So using their projections gives us a very accurate kind of increase in growth in population. So moving forward, any other questions and comments on the presentation? Councillor Anderson? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a quick comment. I think what I was looking for with this report in particular was to see where we were compared to where we started just a few short years ago. And I know this has been mentioned a couple of times by my colleagues, but from 2021, when we first came together to this report in 2024, just some really encouraging trends around long-term debt going down per capita, reserves and reserves per capita increasing, taxes per capita being below the median, and so some really positive trends there. I know we've got some big projects on the books for 2025, but we've also seen a lot of development for 2025 as well. And so I know we're still a year away from seeing that report, but look forward to seeing how the 4 years flushes out, looking back, and appreciate what we see today and in terms of how we're in a pretty good place as a municipality. So thank you to administration for bringing this forward.
Thank you, Councillor Anderson. Yes, and those are good comments. Any other questions, comments? Okay. See none. Thank you, administration, for bringing this forward. Definitely as echoed by members of council, love to see the trends that are happening in our community, and that does speaks volumes to the work that this council and previous councils has done in terms of fiscal responsibility and ensuring that our community is taking care of our current infrastructure, planning for the future, and make sure that reserves for the next generation. So thank you for that. If I can get Councillor Hansard for the motion, please.
Mr. Mayor, I move that Town Council accept the 2024 year-end financial trend report for information.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor. Any questions, comments, and debate on the motion to accept? Okay. See none. Call the question. All in favor? Okay. That is carried. Okay, that ends the number 9 business item. So moving on to number 10 is council discussion. So this is the time that we allow council members to update members of council in terms of committee updates or anything that we've heard through residents and concerns that they may have brought forward to members of council. Deputy Mayor?
I just want to say thank you for an amazing 4 years. Best of luck to everybody on October 20th.
Thank you. Councillor Anderson? Not making eye contact.
It's all right. I was making myself a note. Just a couple of things this evening. The first being a question to administration. Certainly concerned to hear about the ATS accident just a few short days ago. Just looking for a brief update. I understand there was an injury there, but also wondering if there was any impact to our service offerings with that vehicle being out of commission.
Okay. Thank you. Yes.
Your Worship, through to Councillor Anderson. Certainly, brief summary. I don't want to go into too many details. It still is an active investigation, but our ATS bus was returning with 2 passengers, 2 clients from Edmonton, and a truck was going the wrong way on 16A. So they were going eastbound and should have been in the other side of we were coming westbound. So driver tried to avoid the collision. Unfortunately, both vehicles turned the same direction, and it was a head-on collision. A big vehicle versus a mid-sized vehicle. There were 4 injuries for sure, so everyone sustained injuries, including the driver of the vehicle. One of our clients was taken to hospital, released the next day. A lot of bumps and bruises, and certainly with the age of the clients and the people involved, that will take some time for the healing to occur. Definitely, our staff have been keeping in contact with all 3 of those that were involved from our side, and continue to get updates from each of those clients. The clients that were on the bus commended the driver for the actions that were taken in order to avoid the collision or attempt to avoid the collision. So a lot of good things happened in a very unfortunate event. The bus that was is out of service, obviously, at a very impactful head-on collision, so the bus is out of service. Typically, we do have an extra bus, just in case we do have a breakdown throughout the day, that it can get back into service pretty quickly. So if we do have a breakdown, it will limit our ability to bring that backup unit into service, so the backup unit will be in service. Certainly, still trying to determine what the impacts on the long term will be related to it, and insurance and the rest of it to replace that particular unit. Imagine it would have to go through some sort of inspection to determine whether or not it's a repair or a complete replacement, and that will take some time for that to occur. So I think for now, we're managing with the service. We're down a driver, obviously, for some period of time, but certainly doing our best to try and reschedule and get things continuing to be efficient with the service.
Perfect. I certainly appreciate that. Glad to hear that the injuries relatively minor in nature. Certainly any injury is of concern, but appreciate staff's consideration there and following up with the clients. I did get a question today about that particular vehicle being out of service and the potential impacts on October 20th, and just questions around whether we would see increased service and so on the 20th. So just some thoughts there, if you wouldn't mind.
Go ahead.
Your Worship, back to Councillor Anderson, just to add on to the previous comments, if, once we go through the insurance process, there might be an opportunity to rent a bus too, until we get the replacement too. So staff will definitely be looking into those options. With respect to October 20th, if the plan is in play, I would assume that that plan was there being mindful of not all units in service. At that time of the evening and day, they probably would have structured their schedule to ensure that we've got maximum capacity available to support those that need to get to the polling stations. Certainly after the 4 or 5 o'clock, typically when we're finished our trips into some of those professional centers, that would open up more units being able to do those last parts of the night on the 20th of October. So not sure, I can't give you a definitive answer, something I can certainly ask and circulate a more robust response.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that. I think the concern was just how it would impact that. It sounds like there are steps taken and buses and drivers in place to ensure residents have access to that service. And so I certainly appreciate that update. I wanted to bring an update that dates back actually to August 25th. This was something that was discussed in our Red Brick Common presentation. It was obviously public, it was streamed. I made a commitment at that time to bring answers to a number of questions raised by council, and so just want to state on the public record that that report was written, that was shared with council. It was also shared with administration at council's request to be shared with future iterations of council, and those were questions around the clarity and cost and funding sources for the roofing project, the update on progress of their 2016 conservation report, as well as a capital reserve fund balance update. I know we've had conversations around the table about when we offer reports to come back in the future, how we make that available to the public. And so I just wanted to mention that. And if there are questions from the public, I'm certainly available for the next week to provide some of those details and information as reported to council and administration. And with that, I just want to extend gratitude again to our staff as a municipality, our SLT team, the community groups, the businesses in the area, and certainly the residents for a phenomenal 4 years. We certainly are appreciative of everything that goes into running a municipality, and I think regardless of what happens in the coming days, our municipality is in great shape because of the team that we have in SLT, the staff that they've brought on, and the residents here. Stony Plain's in good hands. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Anderson. Move on to Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Your Worship, and I'll keep my comments brief. So first, I'd like to thank administration and all of town staff. I think the common phrase is, "You guys make us look good." So thank you guys all for the job you guys do. I'd like to thank my fellow councillors for bringing passion and dedication to the job and like I say, passion to the community. So I know you guys all genuinely believe in Stony Plain and care for it. So thank you for that. And then I'd also like to thank all the residents for giving me the privilege of serving these last 4 years. And however the election turns out, I've appreciated it.
Thank you, Councillor Meyer. Councillor Pletchko.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. I'm not going to quite be as quiet as the rest of them. I'm going to talk a little bit, so be prepared a little bit. First off, I want to thank all of our town employees and administration for all that they do for the community. You guys take heed to what the people talk about in our community, and you bring that forward, and then you look after that aspect of it. Yes, sometimes we fall down, but nobody's perfect. And nobody will be perfect, but you do a heck of a job getting us to where we are. So SLT, your staff, and you do a phenomenal job here in town. Next, I want to talk about our CAO. Nobody really talks about you. You are a lonely employee that keeps us all in check down here. And you keep us in a good direction. And the great thing about you, Tom, is you can have the one-on-one conversations that are heart-to-heart conversations. And when we leave the meeting, we have a great vision for what our community needs to be. So thank you very much for that. To each council, it's been 8 years that I've been able to fortunately serve our community, and those 8 years have been phenomenal. Learning curves like you've never seen. But I do know that when I come on to council, I felt the town was in need of some stuff. And I think this council has achieved that aspect of it. We've achieved reasonable taxes within our community. We've built reserves that were not there. We have an understanding of infrastructure needs coming to the community for future that we did not know. Each one of us pushed a little button to the CAO, who then pushed a little button to administration. The team effort that has come out of from each and every one of you, you deserve the recommendations to be back on council. I understand that the people in the community will have say in who gets back on council, but truly, I have heard from a lot of residents and a lot of street walking that they believe that the direction of this community has been well served by the people sitting at this table. So no matter what you hear in the community about what we've done, I think you can hold your heads up to whether you get elected or not. You have done and served your community very well. So to each and every one of you, the best of luck coming up to the election, and I look forward to seeing you in the community afterwards, whether we're sitting at this table or not. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor Pletchko. Councilor Laurie.
Thank you, Your Worship. Again, as has been echoed tonight, there's a huge debt of gratitude and thanks. And it starts with the colleagues here on council. And then, as was mentioned, from the CAO down, all the way to our frontline staff, no matter what role they hold with the town. This town is full of amazing people. This organization is full of amazing people. And they truly put their heart and soul into this community. And it is apparent every single day in everything they do. And if there's one thing that's been frustrating in my role behind this seat, it is hearing and seeing some of the things that are said about some of our employees some days. Because I don't think there's anybody that works at this town just for a paycheck. I think everybody who works for this town works here because they love this community. And they love what they're able to do to serve the residents of this community. You don't have to be elected to serve the residents of this community. And that's a big thing for me. Through this term, personally, have experienced the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. And I owe an utmost respect and debt of gratitude and thanks to all of those in this organization for the support that my family has received through those lows. And I'm so appreciative because if it wasn't for everyone in the town who I consider my colleague, not just my council colleagues, but the town staff, I wouldn't be on my feet today. It goes beyond roles, it goes beyond titles. It just goes to being good people. And I wouldn't be anywhere else but where I am today. So thank you all so much for that. It has been a great honor to represent the incredible residents of our community for the last 2 terms and to undertake all the work that is seen and the work that is unseen. I often refer to it as the Main Street phenomenon, where a lot of times it's just the above the surface stuff that people see. And sometimes they're happy with it, sometimes they're not. But the reality is there's so much that goes on underneath that does not get seen. There's so much work that is done that doesn't get limelight, that doesn't get the shiny and the bright lights and the news reports and so on and so forth. And so, you know, whether you call it in the trenches or what have you, again, that important work that has been done by this council, the councils before it, and especially all the administration is an incredible feat. And I think it was said, this town's in good hands. It absolutely is. The needle has really been moved in these last 4 years. And this council and this administration and every staff member in this town has worked so hard to keep that small town feel, but understand that we are a large municipality in a metro region, and we face those very real challenges. And you don't have to look any further than that financial trend report tonight to see when the smallest fish in the pond can deliver the type of services that a large fish in the pond gets, and they can do so on what I'll call a shoestring budget. They can only do that because of the value of the people within the organization. And they can only do that because the people in the organization are willing to step up and to work on behalf of everybody in this community, because frankly, most of them pay taxes too. And they understand the value of that dollar. So a huge, huge kudos to them. The role of councillor must be undertaken with trust from the electorate and of the electorate, of our administration, and of your colleagues on council. It needs dedication to the role in all its varying forms and many of the requirements to do the best in any form and any thing it may take, because again, there's so much that goes unseen. I know I probably speak for all my colleagues when I say the amount of reading you do in 4 years on council is probably more than you ever imagined you would do in your entire life. But at utmost, it must be done with love. It has to be done with love for the community, for each other, and for this amazing place we call home. And so it's my hope to continue in this role, and I wish all the best to the incredible number of passionate community members who have put their name forward for consideration in this election. Whether you sit behind this bench or not, if you are willing to lead in the community, if you are willing to step up and serve in this community, if you are willing to do anything to better this community, thank you. Thank you for everything you do to make this community what it is, and a place that we all love to live. Appreciate it. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Laurie. Councillor Hansard.
I wasn't sure I was going to get to say anything else because I didn't do my big thank you to everybody. But I do want to tell you, I've had a perspective. Mr. Mayor, you're almost as long as I am on this council. And you come to this point and you realize tonight could be the last night, maybe the last night ever. And you look back over whether it's 4 years, 8 years, or longer periods of time, you see so much that has been done. I can hardly drive through this town and not see the things that have been done to make it better. I'll start right here. This building that we're sitting in tonight, when I came on council, we were in the old building that was a former grocery store, and it had lots of needs. And we did a phenomenal, not we, council, but staff, the CAO of the day and others, managed to get an agreement with the Purple. What organization is that? Do you remember? They're not in existence any longer.
Well, that was the Elks next door.
The Elks.
The Royal Purple Elks.
The Elks had a hall over here, and they had served out the community out of it, but we needed that space, and they had wound down. So we managed to build this building in 2 parts. We took down the building, and many people stood in that parking lot out there and cried the day that building came down from that organization and others. And then that part of the building was built on the parking lot, and this came last. And yet, we had wonderful people in place who made it possible for us to really enjoy that transition. I don't know how many meetings that actually got held in the same place. We got to go into the historic Stony Plain Town Hall and hold a meeting one night. That's probably a highlight in my life, that we sat upstairs in an old building and you wondered how in the world did the old people of the day get up there for these meetings? Because the stairs weren't even that great. They'd been rebuilt. in that day and that we held that meeting, but that was a phenomenal thing. And that's just one example. The fire hall, the public works building, the golf course being moved and rearranged in that wonderful building that they've got to work out of. We did a remake on the Glen Hall Arena, and now it won't be that long down the road, and we'll be doing something else great with the ice sports in this town. Every place you go, every place you look, there's been wonderful things. Our new fire hall, the police station, even though it is not maybe in the exact place that some people wanted it, it meets the needs of the growing RCMP force that look after our community, because the old RCMP station needed badly some work. And I can remember the roof leaked and files were ruined, and it just had to go. So we did what we had to do in the moment and moved our RCMP station. And FCSS moving into the building that is the former library building and still is housed there under a different title, but is still housed there and doing this wonderful function. And I don't know how many FCSS directors we went through in the time since I've been on council, but one of them is now one of our general managers. And Lisa, I always forget what your actual title is, because I still think of Family and Community Support Services. Your community and what?
Community and social development.
Okay. Anyway, you've got a great title, Lisa, and I'm calling you by your first name, and I shouldn't be calling you that, but it's wonderful to see our general managers here. We have so much to be thankful for in this town, so much accomplished, and future council will accomplish a great deal as well. I really do want to thank, I always feel like the staff that's at our table now, you all belong to me. You are my general manager of planning and infrastructure. And Mr. Hill, you're my general manager over so many things. It's hard to believe that one guy got all that put in his portfolio. And Lisa Gilchrist, you're the general manager for community and social whatever you are. Brenda Otto used to run, was it economic development? Economic development. She was good at that. She must have been, because look at the position she's in now. She's the general manager's general manager. And then we get Ann. She actually has a personality. That is such a wonderful thing to have people with personality. And you find that out when you go into strat planning and they put down their guard and they become real people to you. And the 4 times that we've met in strat planning in this term have endeared you all to me. And our CAO, I have to call you Tom, because honestly, I was on the selection committee, and we actually fired the finder company that we had hired, because he kept putting people in front of us that just were not going to work. We did not want a bull in a china shop. We wanted a certain type of personality, and we kept looking until we got Tom Golden, and he came here and fell in love with this town. That's all we really needed to know. Can you fall in love with this town? His wife fell in love with the town, actually. And Tom, I said this once, just give me a sec. I said this once before to Phil Hamill when he got ready to leave. I said, Phil, you'll always be my town manager. Well, you're not here quite as long as Tom, although you're getting there. And Mr. Golden, will always be my town manager. And if I'm fortunate enough to come back, I'll bug you and bother you for another 4 years. All of my council colleagues, I want to thank you so much. I am free to tell people we have not always agreed. I've gone through my own journey on this council, trying to fit in, trying not to be domineering, trying not to override. My personality is so hard to control along those lines. But in truth, I've learned far more from you than you've probably learned from me. One of the great blessings of coming into a team, not a team you necessarily select, but a team environment, is forming that team to get a job done. The election gets over, and it will again this time, and whoever ends up sitting at this desk will lay down every vestige of this election. The gauntlet goes down, and you get busy on the business of building a team to do the business of the town for the people. And if that isn't what people are going to be doing, then they don't belong sitting here. You don't come in to rearrange and undo everything that a previous council or councils have done. You come in to carry forward. And hopefully that's what the town of Stony Plain will get, because it deserves it. I want to tell you, I got called retread so much. When I first came back, I actually learned to love it. So it's one of my favorite nicknames, and I don't mind if you call me that out there, because every time you do, somebody has to ask me, what does that mean? And then I get to talk about being on council before and coming back. Thank you for everything. All that I've learned from you, all the times you made me mad, all the times I made you mad, all the times you made me think harder than I wanted to think, study harder than I wanted to study. When I injured my ankle and you dragged me along, and I'll never forget walking the streets of, I think it was Calgary, might have been Edmonton. I couldn't keep up with people, so Councillor Loynes kept dropping back, and she finally reached over and she took my purse from me. And she tucked it up under her jacket, and she said, "You do not walk the streets here like that with your purse flapping on the side of your body. You need to protect yourself." And she became my mother hen, years younger than me, and she was a mother hen. Mel, you'll never know how much that meant to me. I felt cared for and protected, and Harold always took me with him. Provided rides, great conversation. My favorite part is bringing his wife along so we could really enjoy each other's company, and we tolerated Harold. But he's a good driver. So thank you to everybody. It's been a wonderful 4 years. I hope to be back serving with all of you as wonderful councils members again in the next 4 years. And no matter what happens, know that I think of you, I admire you, I hold you high, and I pray for you. And that kind of friendship, that kind of respect, I don't give up easy. So you've all earned it, and I do really, truly thank you. And Mr. Mayor, honestly, you have driven me around the block with craziness sometimes, but you do make me think. I would be remiss if I didn't single you out to make a comment or two about you. No matter what time of day I call you, you answer your phone. That takes a lot. And I hope that you are doing the same for the other counselors, because it's invaluable, especially when you're in learning mode or relearning mode, as retreads do. And it's been a wonderful opportunity to work with you as my mayor. I've had other mayors that I was privileged to serve with. You are probably the most fun, so I thank you for that. And when we go to conferences, we are a presence. And did you ever notice, people, that everybody else wants to sit near us or with us at our table. I don't know what they're lacking, vitamins or something at their table, but they always want to be with us. And that doesn't happen by accident. It happens because of who you are, what you deliver, what you bring, and how we manage to care for people no matter what. So thank you for all of it. It's been a wonderful journey.
Thank you, Councillor Hansard. Definitely appreciate those words. And I think my kids call that a gap year. Not a retread, it's a gap year. All right, moving on with the agenda. There's nothing on the closed meeting. So before we go to the adjournment, I'd like to turn it over to the town manager, please.
Thanks, Your Worship. Yeah, I just realized you guys have spent 4 years having to go after Councillor Hansard. It's a pretty tough act to follow, so it's dawned on me just now. And maybe a few comments I do want to make, but just back to Councillor Hansard. I didn't say earlier, just because it was more of the formal part of the agenda, but speaking of legacy, so one of our leadership principles internally inside the organization that we speak with our staff about quite often. And it's taken a bit from the mission statements and purpose statements for the council itself, but a bit of the backstory was the term is that we are excited about our future. And the story I heard, I wasn't in the room, but the original wording was, we look forward to our future, or we anticipate the future or something like that. And Councillor Hansard at the time was vehement that if you're not excited about your future, if you're not excited about the future, then get the hell out of here kind of situation. So and, I tell that story to our staff from time to time because I do think, I agree. I do think that's, leaders need to be excited about what they see in front of them. And Councillor Hansard, I know over the years, I just want to thank you for reinforcing that particular perspective with me. Your Worship, rest of council, again, just on behalf of the 150 or so plus team members working for council and the community, I want to express gratitude for the leadership and direction provided by each of you. A community is at its best when led by wise, dedicated, and caring people. This past 4 years has demonstrated that this council has carried on the historical strength of community leadership demonstrated by so many elected officials in Stony Plain over generations. Our community is better for the service and leadership you have provided. I'm grateful for the respectful dialogues with members of council and the direction provided to myself and the organization on community priorities and accountability to the community. Please pass along a note of gratitude to those in your circle. We are cognizant of the time and energy required to serve as a member of council. Those in your support circle deserve our gratitude and our thanks as well. It has been an honor and a privilege to serve this community through service to council this past 4 years. It has not always been easy, nor should it be. The work you do is important and significant. The work you do matters. Individually, and most importantly, collectively, your leadership has made a difference to many and will continue to make a difference to many more to come. On behalf of myself, my team, and the entire organization, Your Worship, and to the rest of council, thank you for your leadership this past 4 years.
Thank you, Town Manager. I think the feeling goes both ways, as you heard from members of council. We do definitely, without the leadership of yourself and the senior leadership team, we're just, as I mentioned before, 7 people here having coffee and just talking about the weather. Because I can guarantee you, I tried driving the grader, and you don't want me to drive the grader. I also tried driving the street sweeper. You don't want me to drive that as well. You might have some luck driving a little tractor around cutting grass, but that's questionable as well. So, without the staff and the ability to, for their dedication, our community is not as vibrant and as strong and as inclusive as it is without the staff. So, thank you for that. Right. So, before we go to adjournment, just want to say a few words to each and every one of you. So, wow, where has the time gone? It was just like yesterday when we held our first meeting together around this down at the Heritage Park Pavilion. We have accomplished a lot when we think about what we started 4 years ago. We came together as individuals after an election to talk, listen, learn, and also have the courage to share openly and honestly with each other. Through this, we're able to better understand where each of us comes from and why we debate important issues with so much passion. We may not always agree on everything, but we understand and respect each other's point of view. But when I do call the vote, we all own that decision as a council. And we move forward as a team. That is what sets our community up for success, is that we move on as a team. Some of the major highlights that we have accomplished this term is the upgraded assessment management plan. That this plan helps us maintain, replace, and take care of our aging infrastructure, such as water and sewer lines, pathways, roads, and our town buildings. Without that kind of plan, our roads, our infrastructure would be in shambles. We also completed the second trail connection between Stony Plain and Spruce Grove, giving our residents the ability to move freely without a vehicle and offering different types of transportation modes. As a council, we've been successful in lobbying the provincial and federal governments for grants. Those grants help us lessen the tax burden on our residents. You see those news releases, a community our size is punching well above our weight class. The grants that we've received over just this last year alone was over $6 million. That is huge for a community our size. We also approved phase 1 of the recreational center, a much needed amenity that we started talking about in 2007 when I first got on council. When Councilor Hansard remembers that, which will be open this time next year. That's how much planning has gone into making sure that we make the right decisions for our community. We're also on path to have the public cemetery open here within the next year, where residents can actually now lay their loved ones to rest within our community, not outside of our community. As this council, we have improved our collaboration and cooperation with stakeholders and community groups that serve our residents. We understand the power of that collaboration and cooperation. There's only so many hours in a day and so many dollars in the budget. But when we leverage those stakeholders and our partners, they can carry that dollar further and have a larger impact in our community. We've also created an economic environment that has now attracted large commercial industrial businesses set up in Stony Plain. That did not happen by accident. That happened by a strategic planning of our council, laying the groundwork and the foundations to get to where we are. Business and growth in our region does not happen without the thought of council. In our 4-year term, we've also maintained the lowest tax rates in our region. This is a very difficult task to achieve, because we know how hard it is to balance the constraints of our residents, the constant downloading and shifting of the provincial and federal governments, and maintaining existing and planning for a future. That is a hard balancing act to do, but we have done that in the past 4 years. We have maintained one of the lowest tax rates in the capital region. Summer mentioned all the studies and stuff that we read. Yes, there's going to be a lot of reading to do. All the studies, the plans, the policies, and bylaws that we read, debate, and pass are the foundations that enable our future prosperity and competitiveness of our community. Be proud of that. Sometimes the work that we do, we will not see the fruits of that labor until a few years down the road. So regardless if you're on council, next term or not, be proud. Eric, thank you for the last 8 years of serving in town. Definitely I've come to appreciate your strong, silent leadership. So some of us know that, some of us do not know. So wise words from Eric is, you know, if somebody's already said it once or twice and 3 times, I don't need to waste my breath to say it the 4th, the 5th, the 6th time. It's already been said. And so sometimes Eric is speaking in the background, but not speaking up in public. So appreciate that leadership within our council. Over the last couple of years, I've watched you grow your understanding and knowledge how to better serve our residents. I've seen your ups and downs and the way you have balanced the work, your family, and council. And I'm thinking that you're doing a great job because from the last I've seen, your son wants to grow up to be the mayor of Stony Plain. So obviously, he has some big shoes to fill because he's chasing after your dreams. And I think you're doing a good job. So thank you. Harold, 8 years has gone by fast, and definitely appreciate your never give up attitude, your ability to view things in a different way, to kind of push us, you know, play the devil's advocate, and allow us to say, hey, let's take a step back and think about this. Because you know what? If we're all on the same mindset, the same cloth, life would be fairly boring and dull. So it is good to have your perspective, to provide that kind of, hey, let's take a better look at this from a different angle to see where we can approach it and make some changes. So I appreciate your conversations with council and with us. But in the end, when that conversation always comes, it's always about how we can move forward together. And I think that's one of our strengths here in council and yours as well. It's not about the individual councillor. It's always about moving the team and the community forward. So thank you. Well, Melanie, you survived your first term. Wow. Definitely, as I got to know you over this last term, I can see that you're a great advocate for our residents and a wonderful member of this team. I didn't know what to expect from you at first. Being here for such a long time, I kind of knew your in-laws and your husband and everyone else longer than I've known you. But I've watched you juggle so many balls in the air as you juggle with your work, your family, volunteering in our community, and the issues that you had to deal with your dad. You've all managed that with grace and a lot of patience. And I can see that your kids are starting to follow your footsteps, becoming engaged and caring human beings in our community. So thank you for your friendship, and I wish you all the best. Jay, from the first time I met you campaigning downtown, do you remember that? I ran into Jay as he's campaigning, helped him do some door knockers, and had the conversation. And we've had many conversations since then, over the past 4 years. And your commitment to our community is evident, and it shows in spades. From the first few months, you were drowning. Maybe even after the 6 months, I think you're still drowning. But you managed to keep the feet kicking and swimming and staying afloat. I know you've had a hard time learning and understanding what the difference between governing and actually doing things are. Yeah, but you have evolved into a great counselor. A counselor that is focused on community and looks forward to what we need so that the next generation can survive and thrive as well. You know, Jay, I think our community has benefited from your contributions on council. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for your time. Justin, you've been on council for 8 years with me, and way longer than that in terms of knowing your in-laws and your family, and all the times that you volunteered prior to you getting on council. Your attention to detail and your ability to hyper-focus on certain things has moved our organization forward, and I think our community has benefited from that dedication that you've shown on council. I know that the past 2 years have been extremely difficult for you. You know, knowing Tasha growing up and seeing her around town and understanding what she felt like and what you had to go through with her and your family. I don't know how you found the strength sometimes. But I just want to know, she is looking down. She is she was happy that you're carrying on and carrying her passion to our community. And when things are rough, just know that we are here for you whenever you need us. Thank you. Pat, from 2007, when I first got elected on council, you are the one that has guided me and helped me become the leader that I am today. You mentioned that you learned a lot from me, and probably it's the other way around. I learned a lot from you, watching how you interacted when I first got into council, how you dealt with residents, how you dealt with your previous mayor and previous mayor. And I appreciate that you said I'm one of the best and funniest mayors that you've worked with, so that's good. I've always cherished your words of wisdom and candid conversations. And you are who you are, and you say it right out in front of me all the time. And you even tell me when I'm doing things, you think I'm doing things that are stupid. But I do listen. I do hear that. I do appreciate the time that we've had together, the friendship that we developed with you and your family. And congratulations on 20 years of service. It is not an easy achievement, especially that everything that elected officials have to go through and we face each and every day. So that dedication and commitment to the town has kept you engaged and relevant each and every day as we come and get together and we meet. And I think you also have one of the biggest hearts for our community. And you do that quite often. You always put the community's hearts into our minds in our conversations around the council table. For that, our residents should thank you and cherish the impact that you had on making sure that our community is better for them. Thank you, Pat. To Tom and our administrative staff, thank you for your dedicated work in building our organization that carries the strategic view and plan forward of our council and our residents. As you've seen through the projections and updates of our population growth, we are maturing as a community. And with that maturation, we need good members of our staff and our community to plan for it, to be able to carry forward and do the jobs and build the buildings that we planned for that will service the needs of our residents. As I said earlier in the comments, council does not drive the tractors, does drive the plows. We don't even go pick the dandelions, but sometimes we do. Right? But it is our staff that do it. The staff make our community and council look great. And I think Councilor already said that earlier, that none of our staff are here for a paycheck. The majority of our staff live in our community or in the surrounding communities as well. And they choose to work in Stony Plain because this is where their home is. This is where they want to make an impact for themselves and for their families. So on behalf of council and our community, thank you to our staff for everything that you do for our community. And I want to thank the residents of Stony Plain. It has been an honor and privilege to be mayor and to lead this community for the past 13 years. I thank you for your grace in allowing me the long runway that I've had to lay those foundations to build our community. I've had conversations with many people over the last few months and years prior to this. Is that when I first got elected on council, I did not want to focus on a council term. I did not want to focus on what I can do in the 3 years, the 4 years, so I can get reelected. I said, if you elect me, I'm focusing on the future of the Stony Plain. What it looks like when we grow up, 15 years from now, 30 years from now, 50 years from now. And that vision doesn't happen without the proper foundations, the proper governance structure amongst council, the ability for us to work as a team, the proper organization structure with the way our town is designed and set up, and definitely does not happen without the grace of the people of Stony Plain to allow me that long runway to build and continue to build our community. As I will say, it's always better in Stony Plain. And thank you. We are going to make Stony Plain greater. I look forward to next term. With that, we hit number 12 of our agenda, which is adjournment. But before that, I do have a gift for members of council. Councilor Meyer. And for those that are not sure, these are part of our plan program. Service. Councilor Vetchko. Councilor Anderson. Councilor Hanson. Deputy Mayor Williams. So on behalf of the residents of Council Plain, the dedication that we've shown the last 4 years has been exemplary. And we can see the fruits of our labor happening in front of our lives. We look forward to maybe again, hopefully working with each and every one of you in the next term. But if not, rest assured that what you've done has grown our community, has benefited our community, and the residents should be. Okay, and with that, that comes to our end of our agenda, which number is 12, to adjournment. Thank you, Stony Plain. The Town of Stony Plain Council 2021 to 2025 term comes to a close, and we'll see you on the other side. Have a good night.